As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the U.S. is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Zohran has never called on President Xi of China to be arrested, even though he has Muslims in concentration camps in Western China as we speak, and nobody talks about it. And nobody arrested dictators like Muammar Gaddafi or Fidel Castro or Hugo Chavez or the president of Iran when they spoke at the United Nations. It's only when the leader of the only Jewish state on the planet wants to speak there that this becomes a problem for the Muslim mayor of New York City. Mike Huckabee is the U.S. ambassador to Israel. He said, quote, if anyone should be arrested, it's the mayor of New York for incitement. New York City should be ashamed. Mr. Ambassador, it's great to see you. It's good to have you back. In the same video, Mamdani admitted that he can't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, but he's calling on Donald Trump and the federal government to do it. Take a look.
My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant.
Look at this guy. Look at those eyes and the soft music playing in the background. Donald Trump said, of course, this is not going to happen. But have you ever seen anything like this when it comes to a politician? The arrogance of this little local mayor of New York City?
It's not just the arrogance, but it's the ignorance. This is a guy who has no authority whatsoever to arrest a foreign leader. First of all, federal laws would trump New York laws. Secondly, the U.S. is not a party to the ICC. President Trump and Secretary Rubio have been crystal clear in defying the ICC, calling it a complete waste of people's money in other countries that actually are a part of this nonsense. So there's no way. And if the Prime Minister should come to New York, he's got diplomatic immunity to go to the UN. The whole thing is a farce. You know, I think, Rob, they're going to change the slogan from the city that never sleeps, that under this guy, they're going to call it the city that never thinks, because this guy is absolutely playing to the crowd, but he's doing it with about 10 out of 52 cards in the deck.
Yeah, but that approval rating at almost 60% in a city with 10 million people. Chuck Schumer is a senator from New York. He's the most prominent Jewish elected official in America. He wrote a book last year, Mr. Ambassador, called Anti-Semitism in America. He has not condemned Mamdani's comments. What does that tell you?
He's a coward. He is a coward for not calling this out. And if he doesn't, then I hope that nobody ever calls him a Jewish leader again. I'm not even Jewish, and I think I'm probably a much more effective Jewish leader than somebody who will not say what Mamdani is, and that is an anti-Semite. You just can't go any other way with this. His approval ratings are appalling. I hope that it's because people aren't listening to some of these nonsensical things that he's saying.
Right.
I hope it's because they just want free stuff, and maybe they believe he'll deliver it for them. He's going to be like New York's new Santa Claus. I hope that they really don't buy into this level of bigotry, hatred, and to anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and I know this has been said throughout the day today. You were the governor of a small state. Look, take care of your state. Mamdani's the mayor of a large city, but just take care of the city and the needs of that city. And trust me, there are many in this city. We're in New York right now. Today, Mamdani was asked if he would call for the arrest of the leaders of the October 7th attacks. Take a look at what he said.
Didn't the ICC put forward a warrant for Yahya Sinwar?
I mean, I know he's dead. Yeah.
Yes, but my point is that they did. And in the video, I made very clear, as I have before, that my interest in executing that warrant is not specific to Benjamin Netanyahu. I can look in October 7th and describe it for what it is, which is a horrific war crime. And I can also look at Benjamin Netanyahu and see the way that he has orchestrated this genocide and also deem him to similarly be a war criminal.
Louise, it's 1,200 Israeli Jews were killed on October the 7th. It's just shocking. A poll came out last week that said that American Jews actually favor Mamdani over Benjamin Netanyahu. And then a Pew Research poll just found that almost 60% of Americans have an unfavorable view of Benjamin Netanyahu. Why do you think that is? What does that tell you, Ambassador?
Well, first of all, there's been billions of dollars spent to influence particularly young American minds on social media through TikTok and Instagram and Twitter.
True.
That's a part of it. They've spent billions of dollars financing Middle East study series in various universities and brainwashing kids. But a lot of it is just pure ignorance. And I say that word not as a pejorative, I say it as just a matter of fact. When you say, or Mamdani says, that Benjamin Netanyahu is guilty of genocide, that Israel committed genocide, on its face, that is a stupid thing to say. Why? Because when you commit genocide, you try to erase, and it is in your intention to erase an entire people. Is he aware that the population of Gaza has risen by almost 4% every year since October the 7th?
I don't think he's aware. I don't think he's aware that the Israelis are feeding the Gazans.
They're really bad at it.
Yeah, dropping leaflets warning them where they're going to strike, feeding the Gazans. I don't think he's aware of those facts. I want to ask you about the war in Iran. President Trump on Truth Social today promising to hit infrastructure in Iran anytime the Islamic Republic shoots a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon. The United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant at a time. I take him at his word, by the way, Ambassador. Yesterday, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, called on Donald Trump to end the war in Iran. There is a desire for that, according to the polling. What do you think the president needs to do next?
You know, it's the job of the ambassador to follow the policy of the president, not to tell him. I have great confidence in the president's instincts, his intuitions. He's been right almost every single time, without exception. He'll make the right decision. I'll be honest with you, depending on that decision, you know, we may be right in the middle on the front row seat of a whole nother kinetic action. But I'm more than willing to be in the middle of it when the president decides that the Iranians are not ever going to be trusted. They're never going to give up their nuclear ambitions. But President Trump has been absolutely crystal clear. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They're not going to enrich uranium.
Yeah.
The sooner they understand that, the safer and the better off they will be and the Iranian people would be.
Ambassador,
and I
that's
just hope they listen.
That's a very smart point that I hadn't considered. So you're saying that escalation might be the ultimate way to get to de-escalation? Is that accurate?
It very well could be. These are decisions that will be made in D.C., not in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But when they're made, we'll be in the middle of them. And I tell you this, no matter what decision the president makes, being around him as I have, I trust that he will make a decision that will be the right one for the American people.
All right. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, always a pleasure to have you on. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
My pleasure, Rob. Thank you.